If you enjoy this podcast, then be sure to check out Farm Small, Farm Smart Daily, where you can get your daily dose of farm wisdom. Tune in every day to learn the latest tips, tricks, and stories from the world of farming. Whether you're a seasoned farmer or just getting started, our podcast has something for everyone. Join us as we explore topics like farm business, crop planning, soil management, and tools and technology. Start your day off right with Farm Small, Farm Smart Daily, available on all major podcast platforms. Don't miss out. Subscribe today.
You said something at the beginning about how regenerative, like the science behind regenerative agriculture is new science. And my question for you is it truly new science, or is it more of just sort of quantifying and putting scientific language to a more ancestral way of doing things? Because I see in some forms where it truly is new, whether it's like the way we foliar feed or doing whatever, but it's also sort of incorporating things like compost and cover crops that have been done for, forever.
You caught me. Yeah. It's absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's old practices. It's ancestral practices. The quantifying it and documenting the reasons behind what compost does, the microscope and DNA analysis, and I love all that stuff, has now been able to literally prove and quantify that all those things were legitimate. And that's probably the new side that's really come out in 10, 15 years. And people will say, and it's been developing for a long time. I mean, I wasn't aware of it at all, which I was deep into research and was surprised really that there's very little knowledge of it. And I think that's changed a lot in the 5 years since I've been doing this. Now, every magazine you pick up's got an article about soil health and a little bit of hint of regenerative.
Do you think that there was a point because I imagine also in the sort of the research of ag, you probably have some sort of a context of the history of ag. Can you point things back to a moment in which we sort of made that pivot? I mean, I know there's tons of stuff out there talking about it, but made the pivot from sort of more holistically, organically minded to more of the, what we call quote unquote conventional agriculture that was the industry that you came from.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I just listened to everybody explaining it, but I think that point was, they say at the end of World War II, all the dynamite factories, they were huge and they were looking for something to do with it. And they found out they could simply convert them to nitrogen fertilizer. And so all of a sudden, farmers, had access, pretty cheap access to this fertilizer that would make everything grow like crazy and turn greener. And we're finding out just now that pushed growth is not necessarily a good thing. I mean, we can grow crops fast. Yeah. And what I found out analyzing them, that doesn't mean there's much, if any, nutrition in. So you can fertilize and grow them fast. And unfortunately, that's what we're all eating. So that was the first big change. That was the pivot. So end of World War II, 1945. Then the second, I saw it happen. I was working in the field as a tech rep. And when Roundup came out, all of the farmers, it simplified so many things. And when there were Roundup ready crops, farmers, the typical farmer in Georgia and row crops, was a father-son doing 500 acres. All of a sudden they could do 1,000 acres. So that was in the early 90s or something like that. That was the second pivot that allowed everybody just to get bigger and do it. And that required them to be more industrial, bigger equipment, doing it faster, less time in the field, less boots on the ground.
It's really interesting that you said it was the 90s, because I obviously I was born in the 90s, so I wasn't really cognizant of all that. But it's just interesting to say that it not only is it just the access to the chemicals, but then in the particular ones, like things like glyphosate and Roundup, and then the subsequent ability to get to have Roundup ready things, how it's almost goes hand in hand of, you have the access to the products, and then that changes the way that you grow, which then requires you to have new products, which then continuously changes the way that you grow. And it's just sort of this compounding cycle. Yeah, it's just really fascinating to understand, because, and that's one of those things that I was really curious about, is I'd say for the majority of people who aren't really in the industry, don't know, most people would say like, yeah, I mean, we pretty much have grown this way for forever, right? And realizing that this really is a very new, unnatural way of farming.
But there was never a plot behind it. I mean, it was not like, somebody decided, oh, we're going to push this nitrogen fertilizer on farmers. It was, farmers tried it and had access to it, and they thought, wow, this is amazing. This is an innovation. And it was the same thing with Roundup. I mean, we were amazed at how Roundup controlled all the weeds that we'd been unable to control forever. And it changed things. It was such a boom to allow growers, everybody. I mean, this is unfortunately the way our system's built, that everybody's just paid for yield. I mean, that's productivity is based on yield. And so both of those things allowed people to grow more, bigger, faster. And that's the farmers, of course they accepted it. Yeah. It was, it appears to be better. And it's like everything else. Sometimes it takes 10, 20 years, maybe 50 years to discover what the negative consequences might have been.
Yeah. And at that point, we may be so steeped in a way of doing things that that's a big ship that you have to try to turn. With that.
They're locked in.
Yeah.
It's the system's in place. I hope we can change it. I really do. And now we have enough technology that we can identify and find out, these crops we're growing, they're low in all the vitamins and nutrition. And I mean, we'll go to the grocery store and we buy this produce. It doesn't have any flavor. It's terrible. Bought a watermelon 2 weeks ago that I actually threw away. It's my favorite fruit. It wasn't ripe. It didn't have any flavor. It was terrible. I keep buying citrus in the grocery store, thinking, okay, this is what the competition is. It's not edible.
Yeah.
Compared to mine. It's unbelievable, the flavor and the taste. And therefore, I know the nutrition that comes from it. So same with, I'm sure, all the people that, I've gotten to where I just tell people when they ask, what do I do? And I say, go to a farmer's market, buy from somebody that you know. It's more likely to be way beyond organic. It's it's going to be regenerative. It's going to be grown by somebody who cares about it. And I would assure people it's going to be 3, 4, 5 times more nutritious than anything you can buy in a grocery store. Even in the organic aisle, it's going to be better. Go buy it from a farmer.
Hello, growers. Protect your crops from harmful insects with Modern Growers Insectinet. This top-tier insect netting made by Modern Grower shields your plants from pests and harsh weather, boosting your yields without harmful sprays. Insectinet's unique design allows 90% of the light to pass through and is easy to use with low tunnel systems like our Quick Hoops. It's soft, elastic, and durable, perfect for field use to help ensure that your crops thrive. Say goodbye to pest damage and hello to healthier, market-ready produce. Invest in Insectinet and see the difference it makes. Get Insectinet at shop.moderngrower.co or using the link below.